All right, you want to print off or just get out a piece of paper, and we're going to go through the surface area and volume review. For those of you who've been struggling, I would highly recommend even watching the video twice. I think sometimes that can help, and you have plenty of time because your test is until Wednesday or Thursday, and I've also put up a quizzes to help you review as well. Okay, number one, it talks about vertices and faces. It wants to know how many edges. That is Euler's formula. And again, I would write that down. It is also on your formula sheet right here. Faces plus vertices equals edges plus 2. So I'm going to go ahead and write that down. We have faces plus vertices equals edges plus 2. So in this particular case, I've been given 10 vertices and 7 faces. So 7 plus 10 equals E plus 2. 17 equals E plus 2, so I would subtract 2 from both sides, and we end up with the number of edges is equal to 15. All right, number 2, it tells me the surface area of a sphere. They want us to find the radius and then ultimately find the volume. So again, I'm going to go to my formula sheet. I'm going down to the bottom under surface area. My surface area formula is 4 pi r squared. I've been given that surface area is 196 pi. And the first thing I need to do is go find the radius. So to get r squared by itself, I'm dividing by 4 pi. Those pi's will cancel out. I'm going to grab my calculator, 196 divided by 4. And I get 49. So r squared is 49, which means in order to get r, I'm going to take the square root. I get r is equal to 7, and now I can go and find the volume. Again, look at your formula sheet. Volume is 4/3 pi r cubed, so that would be 7 cubed. And I'm going to leave this in terms of pi, so I'm going to put that pi off to the side. We've got 4/3 times 7. I'm going to use that caret button to the third power, and we get 457.3 repeating. So 457.3 repeating. Okay, number 3, I'm looking for the slant height, and they've given you a visual of where that slant height would be. I'll grab my marker just to show it to you a little bit better as well. So this is the length I'm looking for. Notice you have the height, and we can go find this distance. So we're creating a right triangle. If this whole length is 9, that means from here to here would be 4.5, and we're just going to use Pythagorean's theorem to find that slant height. L squared is equal to 4.5 squared plus 5 squared. Get 45.25. And again, we're just going to go take the square root of our answer, and we get 6.7. All right, number 4, they want us to find the surface area of the cone. Again, looking at my formula sheet, and they do want the whole thing. So we've got pi RL plus pi r squared. Notice it does say leave it in terms of pi. R stands for the radius, which I've been given. L stands for the slant height, which I have also been given. So I'm going to go ahead and do 8 times the 23. That gives me 184 pi. And then 8 squared is 64 pi. And then finally, adding the 184 and the 64, we get 248 pi. Okay, number 5, we are looking for the similarity ratio, surface area ratio, and the volume ratio. And that came from that last unit. And what I tend to do is just kind of set it up into 3 different columns. The first column is their similarity ratio, their surface area, and then their volume. So we have 18 over 15, or 15 over 18. I'm going to go ahead and reduce that. And one other thing I'm going to point out is my calculator. You should be able to reduce this, but you've had some that are pretty large to reduce. If you hit 15 fraction bar 18 and hit equals, it's going to automatically reduce that for you. Now to get from here to the ratio of their sides, we need to take 5, 6 and square it. And to get from here to here, I would need to take 5 over 6 and cube it. And again, just to show you, so 5 cubed is 125. 6 cubed is 216. So 125 over 216. Okay, number 6, they want us to find the volume of the whole entire thing. I can see I have a cone and I have a cylinder. So let's go write down our volume of the cone. Volume of the cone is 1/3 pi r squared h. The volume of the cylinder is pi r squared h. I'm going to do this part first because I can see I have a radius of 3. I see I have a height of 12. Up here, what I don't have is the height of the cone. But I can see I have the slant height. This is what I'm looking for, and I have this little piece right here. Now you may recognize this is actually the most common Pythagorean triple. It's the 3, 4, and 5. If you didn't recognize that, you could still go and use Pythagorean's theorem. So over here, I get 72 pi, and here I would get a 12 pi. Finally, adding those together, we get 84 pi. Okay, moving on to the next one, number 7. We're looking for the lateral area and the surface area of that prism. So let's go after the lateral area first. It says P times H, and when they're talking P, they're talking the perimeter of the base, which in this case is that triangle. Notice you've got one side is 9, one is 12, so I need to go use Pythagorean's theorem to find that other side. So 9 squared plus 12 squared, and then I would need to take the square root. 9 squared plus 12 squared. And the square root of 225 is 15. So the perimeter of that triangle is 9 plus 12 plus 15. And the height of the prism is actually the distance from one of the bases to the other when my two bases were the triangles. So I've got 18 in here. So the lateral area is 36 times 18, which is 648. Then I have to add in the area of the bases. So we have 648 plus 2 big B, and big B would be the area of this base, which is a triangle. So that's 2 times 1/2. The base of that triangle is 12. The height of that triangle is 9. So 648 plus 108 gives me 756 centimeters squared for the total surface area. Okay, moving on to number 8, but they're looking for the lateral area, and that's all they want. So the lateral area is perimeter times height. Again, P is the perimeter of the base. In this case, the base is the pentagon. So to find the perimeter of the pentagon, it has 5 sides. Each one of those are 6.2, and I'm multiplying by a height of 20.5. Multiplying all that together, 635.5 centimeters squared. Number 9, we're looking for, we're told what the volume is, and we have to go solve for the radius. So I'm going to go write down my formula for volume of a cylinder. it is pi r squared h. So in this case, I'm substituting in what the volume is. I'm substituting in what the height is, and I'm going to go and solve for the radius. So to get r by itself, I need to divide by 36 pi. Again, those pi's can cancel out. And I've got r squared is 272.25, and to get the radius, we're going to take the square root, and I get a radius of 16.5. All right, moving on to number 10, they want us to find the surface area of the pyramid. Again, looking at your formula sheet, that formula is 1/2 pi L plus big B. All right, so to find the perimeter of the hexagon, that's the distance all the way around, and there are 6 sides, so that would be 6 times 6. I don't have the slant height. Okay, going back to find the area of the base, if that's a regular hexagon, the way we did that is we found one triangle and we multiplied it by 6. So I've got 6 times 1/2. The base of that triangle is 6. I'm going to pull that triangle out for you for the moment. So this is 6. I need to find this height. If you recall, to find that angle, we're taking 360 divided by 6 divided by 2, which is 30 degrees. So I really have a 30, 60, 90. To go from the short leg to the long leg, we multiply by radical 3. Okay, then our other issue is we don't have the, I think we've been given the height and not the slant height. So if you can see, here's the height. I've got this piece right here. Actually, I'd have this piece right here, which I have, and I'm looking for the slant height. So we've got slant height is equal to 3 radical, what's this distance? Yeah, 3 radical 3 squared plus 11 squared. And you might be thinking, this one's pretty difficult. You're right, we won't have any quite as difficult on your test. Okay, I'm going to square that 3 radical 3 plus 11 squared. And ultimately, I'm taking the square root, and I end up with 12.2. So again, don't stress, you won't have any that difficult. 12.2. All right, finally we're ready to plug in. I'm doing 1/2 of 6 times 6 times that slant height. I'm getting 219.6 over there. Multiplying all that together, I get 31.2, and finally we can add these together. 250.8, and that is centimeters squared. Okay, number 11, looking for similarity ratio and then eventually the volume. So again, I'm going to kind of set it up in those columns. Their similarity ratio is 3 to 5. They start talking volume, so I need to cube that. That would be 27 over 125. Tells me the volume of the larger. Well, that means the larger goes down here, and I'm looking for the volume of the smaller. We're going to cross multiply. 125x equals 3240. We end up with x is 25.92 centimeters cubed. Okay, moving on to number 12. Okay, number 12, they tell me I'm looking for the volume of a pyramid. That is 1/3 big B times h. In this particular case, they already gave me the base area. They gave me big B, and I have the height. So we're just going to go ahead and substitute all that in. So 1/3 times and 295, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And we're going to have to stop there and finish up in the second video.